Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to take a look at the Transformers Legacy Evolution Voyager class Nacelle. Let me know what you think of this figure in the comment section down below. Is that a pickup or a pass? Now let's take a look at the figure's packaging. So here we have the packaging. Starting at the very front, we have Transformers on the side. We have the Legacy Evolution logo at that bottom corner there. We have Nacelle in white text with a huge image or artwork shot of Nacelle in his robot mode, looking absolutely awesome. If we do look at the top of the box, we have another Legacy Evolution logo with a few Easter eggs showing off several other Amazon exclusive a part of this Legacy Evolution line. And I have quite a few reviews of those figures on the channel already, so make sure you go check out those reviews after this one. And if we do look at the side of the box, we have another Easter egg of Nova Prime, and his review is up already on the channel. Make sure you go check out that review after this one. And as for the other side of the box, we have the full complete Legacy Evolution artwork, looking pretty cool there. And as for the back of the box, the figure transforms in 21 steps. There is the name Nacelle in white text. There's a product shot of Nacelle in his Tetra Jet Alt mode and his robot mode with his null rays. And that is pretty much it for the packaging. So let's now get into the review. Here we have Nacelle in his robot mode. Let's take a look at the details. Starting at the very top with the head sculpt, we have some really nice blue for the entire helmet section with some light piping yellow for the eyes and some red for the face. I do like the really cool kind of layered panels on the sides of the head. I think that's a pretty cool detail. I do like the glossy blue for the entire shoulder and bicep and wing with some really nice bright white for the hand and the forearm. I do apologize if some of the white bits on the figure kind of blasted out or blurred out because of course I do have a white background and there's quite a bit of bright white bits on the figure. Hopefully you can see the details. I'm going to get a bit closer, of course, so you can see them. But I do have to say, there's always been one really cool thing I liked about this Starscream mold is the amazing sculpting and detailing. If you do get close, there's actually tons in the wings, the arms, the shoulders. I do like the faux cockpit chest piece right there with the really cool turbines done in yellow with some more white. I do like the little blue stripes there as well, the really cool glossy red at the top of the legs, and the really cool armor knee pads there as well. And of course, since the original version of this mold is from Siege, there's a few posts here and there you can attach some blaster pieces to, and the feet are also done in white and the heel spurs are done in blue. And one other really cool detail I liked about this mold is how the thrusters are actually kind of built into and embedded in the feet, because you can actually attach some blaster pieces there and have them blast off into battle. I always thought that was a pretty fun playable feature. And if we do look at the back, overall pretty well compact. Everything's tabbed into place. Everything's put together pretty well. No hollow bits or anything. He actually does have some really cool spring-loaded panels, mostly due to transformation, but everything's pretty well filled in. The arms, not much hollowness, or the legs. He actually does have this really cool kind of thruster section, so you could maybe, if you wanted to do kind of a Beast Wars Inferno and attach a blaster piece there, have him blasting off in a battle, you can have a rocket booster on his back. So I think that's pretty cool. And that is pretty much it for the details. So if you do have any version of this Siege Starscream mold, which there has been many, I think Nacelle here is like the 12th or like 13th version. It's insane. And I do own all of them. Of course, I won't compare this figure to all of them. I will compare him to one other in just a sec. But if you do have any version of this mold, the articulation is the exact same for all of them. So you really shouldn't be that surprised once you get this figure. But if this is your first time experiencing this mold, I would say it's actually pretty good for a Voyager. So the head is on a ball joint. It can look up and down, it can tilt side to side, and of course look left to right. The arms can move out and in, forward and back. There is, of course, a bicep rotation. There is a double jointed elbow bend. There is also a butterfly joint at the shoulder, and there is a wrist rotation. So I do like all the articulation in the arm and shoulder, but as you can tell, some of it's a bit loose. It actually gets a bit messy when you're articulating the figure, so it's probably my one complaint about the tolerances. A few of the joints, like the double jointed elbow and the hand, could be a tad bit tighter because it can get pretty messy pretty fast when you're actually messing with the figure. But if you do move the arms out of the way, he does have a waist rotation. He does have a full waist rotation. Unfortunately, when it's in its robot mode, it is slightly hindered due to this entire backpack section, but he does have one if you want to maybe slightly modify it, because for the transformation, you actually do have to rotate the legs all the way around for the Tetra Jet Alt mode. So he does have one, just of course in this position or kind of configuration, the backpack does get in the way. So if you maybe want to try and modify it, maybe you could actually get that to work. I don't know. But the legs can kick out and in. Rotation at the top of the leg. There is actually a really good degree bend at the knee, of course, due to that entire spring-loaded panel at the back of the leg. And there is also, of course, a pivot forward, back, and of course out to the side at the foot. and I think the ankle pivot could just be a tad bit better. And that's pretty much it for all the core areas, but if you do want to see the articulation of the wings, I actually will flip the figure around. It actually has some pretty posable wings, so you can pull off some really cool, dynamic flight poses or charge poses. So there is a swivel up and down, and of course forward and back. And that is pretty much it for articulation. Really no problems with the articulation. I just think a few of the joints could just be a tad bit tighter, more secure, like the bicep rotation, the hand, the elbow bend, and the feet are a really cool design. But unfortunately, my main huge problem with this figure and this mold is he's never really stable. I always have the biggest pain in the neck posing these figures around and actually putting him on display in my collection because they're so unstable. They wobble so much. It's probably due to the weird foot design because, of course, there's this little section at the front and the back, so definitely not the most stable. Probably could have done something a bit better with that. Kind of wish Hasbro maybe went a different route, but I do like the design and the appearance of it, but of course, practicality-wise, that's kind of where it falls short. But as for accessories, you can probably already guess what this figure comes with. It's the exact same null ray design we've seen with the other, 12 or 14 versions of this mold. Of course, just matching the same deco that the figure has, but mold-wise, the exact same thing. And you can plug these in the shoulder or any mech-tick port on the figures. You could plug them in the hand if you wanted to, on the wings. I think there's actually some on the sides of the leg and the back, so really tons of options how you can display and store these weapons. But that is it for accessories. Now for a quick mold comparison, here we have the Legacy Evolution Nacelle compared alongside the Takara Tomy Premium Finish Siege Starscream. And there is no mold change between the two, really just a matter of preference of which deco and design you prefer. And let me know in the comments of the many repaints of this Siege Starscream mold, which one is your favorite. So now for transformation, what you want to do is go to the arm. You might actually have to move the wing out of the way just to get some added clearance, but you're just going to open up this entire forearm panel like that. Then you can fold in the hands, and then you can use the double jointed elbow, hinge that entire section up, and close up that entire panel like that. You're going to repeat all those same steps on the other arm. So again, just might have to move the wing out of the way just to get some added clearance, but you're going to open up this entire forearm panel like that, and then you can fold in the hand, use the double jointed elbow, fold that in, close that up, and there we have the arms all done. And you can kind of just hinge these all the way out again just to get some extra room for other parts of the transformation. Now we're going to actually focus on this entire backpack wing section. So you're actually going to disconnect both front sections of the nose cone, and then you can actually fold both sections down. And how this is tabbed in place is there's a slot right there, and there's a tab pretty much embedded in the back of the figure. So of course, just swing both sections down like that. Get the other side, swing that down as well, and of course there is a tab and slot and a corresponding tab and slot. So just tab both halves together like that, and then you can actually rotate at the waist all the way around. So now the front of the legs are actually facing the back of the figure, and there's this entire plate. You're actually going to use that tab on the plate and a slot in the back of the head that is just going to tab into place like that, and then you can push the head pretty much as far back as you can like that. And as you can see, there is this huge hinge. You're actually going to hinge this entire section forward like that. And then you can grab this entire chest panel here, hinge this entire section up like that. And there we go. And then you can go to the feet and the legs. You can actually collapse the entire heel spur and foot into each other like that. And there's actually spring-loaded panels pretty much at the back of the legs. And there is a tab right there and a slot right there. So the leg will just tab into place like that. And you might have to move that panel out of the way just to get some extra room. Again, just fold that in and tab that into place. And then you can actually grab the arm. There is two slots here, two tabs right there. That's just going to tab into place like that. Do the exact same thing on the other side. Just tab the arm in like that. And then you can hinge this down again. Might actually move, unfortunately, but you can then hinge the entire wing down. There is two tabs here and two slots on top of the arm, and that will just tab into place like that. And then once you've done that, you can actually lift up the entire nose cone section. You can kind of tuck this entire tip section of the wing underneath like that. And you can repeat the exact same process on the other side. So just tab the wing into the arm, lift the entire nose cone section up to tab that in. And then you can go to the back. You're actually going to grab this entire thruster section. There is a slot there and a tab on the thruster. You're just going to hinge this down and then there's that same tab, and there is a new slot right there, and that is just going to tab into place like that. And then there is 2 tabs here and 2 slots on the inside of this panel that's just going to hinge up and tab into place nice and securely. And that is it for the transformation. But as you can obviously tell and know that this is definitely not complete yet. You obviously have to add his null rays for the Tetra Jet to be completed and finished. So of course there's that typical post and port system. There's actually 2 different sets of ports. You can use the one on the actual wing or the shoulder if you want it to be a bit more angled. I actually probably prefer the shoulder because it makes it look a bit more dynamic, but you can just plug those into place. And that is it for transformation. Let's now take a look at the details. Here we have Nacelle in his Tetra Jet alt mode. Let's take a look at the details. Starting at the very front, we have some really nice glossy blue for this entire front nose cone section and the wings. I do love all the really cool surface kind of panel detailing sculpted in with a really cool transparent yellow for the entire front windscreen or window section, with some really cool bright white for this entire outer section or kind of peak section right here, with some really cool gunmetal gray for this entire intake kind of vent section at the top. And if we do look at the side, I do like the really cool kind of little spikes or little angles at the tips of the wings. And of course, we do have the classic null rays or blasters on the side. I do love the blue, red, and white, and both null rays are blaster base compatible, in case you're wondering. And if we do look at the back, we have the really cool booster section, actually 3 boosters, which are all blaster base compatible. And you might be wondering, I don't think I mentioned this earlier in the review, but I will mention now. Probably most of you know by now, one of the main complaints or kind of problems with this mold, not every single version of the mold had a problem, but quite a few people had a problem with this panel. Typically during transformation, it would pop off or fall off, and it actually hasn't happened to me at all. It never happened when I was actually filming it, the transformation, or actually off cam, off recording, when I was just transforming it for fun. It's actually never happened yet, so that's a really good sign tolerance wise. But of course, we do have the boosters back there looking pretty cool, which are also blaster base compatible. And of course, here is the top, and here is the bottom, and that is pretty much it for the details. Starting off our comparisons, here we have a mold comparison. Here we have the Legacy Evolution Nacelle compared alongside the Takara Tomy Premium Finish Siege Starscream. Now, I really like the Siege Starscream molds, but I think it's probably about time Hasbro retire this mold, because I'm pretty sure Nacelle makes like the 12th or 13th repaint of this mold. Now for one final comparison, here we have an Amazon exclusive on Amazon exclusive comparison. Here we have the Legacy Evolution Nacelle compared alongside the Legacy Evolution Deadeye Duel 2-pack Cascade and Javelin. And that is pretty much it for comparisons. Let's now get down to the final thoughts. Now for my final thoughts on the Transformers Legacy Evolution Voyager class Nacelle. Nacelle is a straight up repaint of the Sea Starscream mold with a really nice glossy blue and white deco. Nacelle includes the same 2 classic secret always that we've seen with previous versions of the mold. So apparently this figure has had some major QC problem where people were opening the figure out of the packaging and the figure would have a lot of white powder or mold across the entire figure. I had this figure ordered on Hasbro Pulse, but it was cancelled due to this problem. I ordered it from Amazon instead, and I was lucky enough to not have that problem with my copy of the figure. Transformation is very fun and simple with some really cool engineering techniques like the spring-loaded panels. Nacelle transforms into a very cool, sleek, futuristic Tetra Jet. Both blasters can be stored underneath the jet and are blaster base compatible. What do you think of this figure? Let me know in the comment section down below. I hope you enjoyed this review, and I will see you next time.